As if farmers don't have enough to worry about, Mr. Speaker. It's hard work. It's stressful work. You know, did you know that the most stressful occupation going is farming? Bar none. Seen it in my grandfather. It's like, also, remarkably, farmers are, I don't even understand it, but the most optimistic people when things go wrong. Well, things will be better next year is a common refrain. You know, there's always next year. It's going to be better next year. But it's not going to be better. It's not going to be better next year if this goes ahead. And Mr. Speaker, I've listened in the House, I've listened to the scrums, to members of the government, the minister, and others speak to this, and I have yet to hear any logical rationale for these decisions around vet services and they're thinking about the veterinary, the animal health labs. I haven't heard. In fact, the goalposts keep getting moved. So originally it was we're going to save this money, and then more lately it was, well, it's not about the money. When the farmers, you know, together said, raise the fees. Just raise, if it's money, raise the fees. Raise the fees to the lab, raise the fees for the vets if it's money. Raise them to the point where you're comfortable. Well, that's not just about the money. It's about something else poorly defined, Mr. Speaker. So, I mean, maybe, you know, to be a little cheeky here, the minister should consult one of the thinking partners that are being imposed on our children in schools now. Thinking partners, can you imagine? But it feels like there's something that is underlying this decision that we're not seeing. Because I cannot understand applying just logic to the rationale, or the supposed rationale that we're hearing, that makes any sense whatsoever, Mr. Speaker. So I want to thank the member for Sussex Three Rivers for bringing this motion and for her excellent speech. Like, her speech should just win the day. She said it all, and she said it all with conviction and passion. And really, all we can do is reinforce what the member said in her opening speech, and what she'll probably say in her closing speech, because it was sensible. It was the voice of reason. It was logical, and it was right, Mr. Speaker. So we don't need to be imposing new problems on the farming community. They've got enough problems to deal with, just in the regular business of farming, and now they're dealing with weather problems regularly, driven by climate change, Mr. Speaker. So that's enough. Like, who knows how dry this summer is going to be? We don't know. And maybe government could spend more of its time figuring out how to support farmers with the change in climate than taking away services, as is being planned here. So this is critical infrastructure, and I call it critical public infrastructure, the veterinary services and the labs, the animal health labs. And these animal health labs are extraordinary, Mr. Speaker. I know the minister is saying now they're doing a feasibility study. Well, they're getting the Research and Productivity Council of the Crown Corporation to do the feasibility study to see whether they should take it on. But why? Why? There's nothing broke over there. It's an excellent facility. They had an outside auditor do an assessment of their labs back in 2019, I think, because they were concerned that the previous premier might be looking at that as a place to cut, and the results came back. They were glowing, in a class of their own nationally. Excellent work, excellent technology, excellent facilities, Mr. Speaker, and excellent staff. So why would you want to mess with that? Why would you want to mess with that? Why would you want to mess with the vet services that are publicly supported, other than changing the fees, which is just sort of the logical thing? You know, the government's looking for ways to generate revenue, increase the fees. So you know, in a debate, you know, we're supposed to be hearing logical arguments, but I'm not hearing logical arguments from the government side on this. It's illogical. It doesn't make the straight face test, which I like to say doesn't meet the straight face test or not. This doesn't. I mean, sometimes you hear, okay, well, I can see that, and that makes some sense, and maybe you know, I see there's some rationale, and they're going too far or whatever, but no. None of this meets the straight face test. So it's like a farmer. Years ago, I remember at a meeting, mostly of farmers, when I was working with farmers upriver back in the late 90s, he said, you know, one of the things belonging to a farm organization that really helped me was I learned how to read between the lines. And he said, I learned that we really have to read between the lines when we're dealing with governments. And reading between the lines here, Mr. Speaker, tells me that there is some other agenda at work here, which we're not seeing. We're not seeing it, and that's the reason it seems illogical. Usually when things seem illogical, there's something that we can't see, something that's being not said, something that's in the back room. So I'm not even speculating what that is, but there's something. So I stand with the farmers and their family, with the farming communities, all of which will be damaged by this. And I to this day recall the response from my farming neighbors when our family lived in Charlotte County. And in Charlotte County, interestingly enough, I happened to be bounded on two sides by farmers and forest on the other. They were incredulous when the Bernard Lord government planned on doing this very same thing. Incredulous. They couldn't figure it out. But in that case, Bernard Lord reversed himself. Did it cause him political damage? No. He did the right thing. He said, like, when he realized that this was a bad idea and all the problems it was going to cause and the consequences, he reversed himself, changed the plan, and to his credit. So I don't know why the Premier is so dug in on this, or why the Minister of Agriculture is so dug in on this, but there is no shame in saying, yeah, we realize that what we've got is worth holding on to, and we made a mistake in thinking we should change that. Yeah, I know official oppositions always like to make hay with, nice little thing, make hay with the, I don't know, I just do that naturally. Make hay with the whole flip-flopping thing, but, you know, I just say flip-flop and fly with it, you know, just go with it. So it's what should be done. It's the right thing to be done, Mr. Speaker. And I'm just so looking forward to the member for Sussex Rivers closing his speech that I really wish I could think of something that was more convincing than she was. I had an interesting meeting with the well, I've been meeting with farmers and the representatives from the organizations and farm and commodity groups and so on, and they can't figure it out. I met with recently retired staff from our labs. They can't figure it out. And I mean, I learned a lot from, I've been learning a lot from the farmers, and certainly learned a lot from the recently retired senior staff from the labs. I had no idea about the extent of the work of the labs in terms of protecting our health as well as animal health and herd health and flock health. Because, you know, I know people get in their mind that it's all about individual animals, but we're talking about herds and flocks here, which is vital to preserving the integrity of farming operations who have livestock or poultry, and certainly vital to protecting public health when you start to see problems happening in a herd or a flock. And the member talked about avian flu, for example, and that's something that I think a lot about. And thank God we've got the protections in place that there are there. Did you know, in fact, that our former chief pathologist who worked at the lab is the one who identified avian flu in the Maritimes, in Atlantic Canada in the first place, when it first got into wild birds. He was called by the Nova Scotians to come. He was called by the Nova Scotians to come help. Nova Scotians who are, you know, supposed to be, they're smart people. They've got lots of universities, and Mr. Speaker, he cracked the code and discovered that what they were dealing with there were in these death of seabirds was unexplained, was avian flu for the first time it appeared in the region. So we've got great people. I hope there's not some kind of bias at work here. I hope not. I thought we were past that. You know, we raised our family in the country, and our neighbors told us, you know, there used to be a real problem between the town kids and the country kids, and it was divisive, but that was gone, and that was true. That the town kids and the country kids got together well, were friends back and forth, because I know I did a lot of driving back and forth to town, take my kids to visit friends. They had lots of friends around us as well in our little community, which was much easier to deal with. But so I thought, this is progress. This is progress. That old town-country divide had fallen away. At least it seemed to have. And at least for the kids it had, which was fantastic. But I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't expect it with the members on the other side, with the Minister of Agriculture, given where he comes from, what his background is. So I hope that's not in any way playing into the Premier's thinking about this. I'm a person who has had one foot in the country and one in the city since I was born, given my family background and given where I've spent, well, over 20 years of my adult life raising our family. So, Mr. Speaker, we all want in this corner of the House and on that side of the House is for the government to do the right thing here. And the right thing is to withdraw this plan and look at those things that need to be done to support our farmers, to help them succeed, to help their families succeed, to help their land that they're stewards of to be fertile and healthy, and to help their livestock, their flocks, their herds, their animals to remain healthy, Mr. Speaker, so that we all remain healthy and our food system remains healthy and their farm businesses stay healthy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.